Hey, what's up, you guys? I wanted to talk to you guys today, reaching out to all my fellow artists, entry-level artists, artists in high school, artists that haven't been able to find a job that involves art that isn't expecting you to be freaking Picasso mixed with freaking Rihanna and the best of your craft. You can be artsy, you can be gaining experience and increasing your talents without needing to settle for McDonald's. And I'm going to tell you guys what I did to reach where I am now. So first thing I want to talk about is age. I started working when I was 15. I was able to get a working permit from my high school, and I went out and I used it. But I did not use it on the first job that I got. The first job that I got was off the books. I was, what are you, when you're 15? A sophomore in high school. And the first thing I did was I was walking around the mall looking for a job in general. And I walked by a kiosk that was open for the Christmas season that was technically considered a custom ornament kiosk. So you would go there, basically, you pick the ornament that you want, and I would then write on it like the names of the family members, the year, any pets, maybe I'll put a couple snowflakes on there for you, bam, and bam, you got yourself an entry-level position. Now, during that time, just about 5 years ago, I was making $7.50 an hour. That's trash, but when you're getting handed straight cash and it's off the books, it's not that trash. I'm not encouraging you to lie to the government, but I will say being honest to the government has never helped me. So yeah, that is somewhere you can start. I would definitely go to a place where there's a lot of stores, and don't be afraid in saying that an art position has to be a certain kind of job, because it really doesn't. You don't have to be an animator or a graphic designer or an illustrator to have an art or creative position. You can be in a retail store, and I think a retail store is the perfect place to start because you're gaining necessary experience, and you're going to, at the end of the day, have a lot more credentials than if you were just working one kind of way as one specific type of artist. So not only that, but if you are starting, you're in high school, you're very young, please do not sacrifice your grades so that you can get a position while you're still in high school, because it's really not worth it. And you have an education going to be more valuable to you in the end than any amount of experience you could get working entry-level positions. So I will also say the majority, when you start going into retail, you don't necessarily need experience. This is because there are a lot, the majority of retail is young people willing to take slightly lower wages who are open to harder or more strenuous labor / longer hours for that price point. A lot of the times this comes with the willingness to train, because you won't take on very, very difficult tasks. So if they're thinking, okay, well, I'm training this person how to be a cashier and maybe a couple things like that, it's not that bad. They're not gonna see it as that bad. At that point, because it is an entry level and because you're getting trained, you don't need to bust out the list of things you've done in the past. You can just be motivated, just be eager, just say, I'm willing to learn, I know how to apply myself, I'm very encourageable, and I want to do this. This is something I want to do, I want to gain. And you say, I want to gain valuable experience. Don't tell them that you want to be there for 6 months and then find a better job. Don't tell them that this isn't real. Don't tell them that you don't know what you're doing. Don't talk about the negatives. Tell them about your potential. That is the best thing that you can do for yourself, especially if you're looking with low kind of standards. At that point, time really does turn into your best friend, because the more experience you gain, the more jobs you look at or do, the more you then become. When you start to go through this process of leaving high school, maybe entering college, maybe take a look back on what you've done so far, and like, do you see yourself being successful in what you're doing? Are you quitting, or are you getting fired? Like, are you moving in the direction that you want to go in? Is your experience valuable to what you want to do? So make sure those things are in mind. Before I left high school, I was able to work a lot of retail. So I did the custom ornaments, but I also did framing, which was in an arts and crafts store, and I did a lot of retail. So I worked at places like DSWM and Papaya and Express and all of those places. But working in the clothing stores, I was able to gain experience as a cashier with someone who was willing to train me, in customer service, in sales, and because of that, I was more hireable because I did the clothing store before I did, say, the custom framing joint. Able to get the custom framing job easier because I already had a little bit of experience backing me. So because I said, yes, I love art, I'm planning on pursuing art in college, and I also have experience as a cashier and in sales and customer service, I was able to get a slightly higher position. So I started at that $750 mark, and by the time I was able to do the custom framing job when I was just about to leave high school, I was then making, I think, $10 an hour. So after that, during college, I kind of obviously pushed more towards art jobs. And in retail, these are mostly, I would say, custom jobs. The custom framing. I also did something where I ended up being a sales associate for a place that did virtual reality rides. Like, that was pretty cool, and I was part of the process in working with the bosses on trying to give the customers the best possible experience. So looking at different 3D rides and planning what would best be suited for the stores and pricing and all of that stuff gave me more experience. I was there for over a year, so I was able to get promoted, and I gained experience as a supervisor and a key holder while I was at that store. That means now I've gained the experience to be able to open and close the store, and I've gained the experience to be able to be a leader and to delegate. So I took that experience and I went to a different store. I went to Lids, and I worked at both of those stores at the same time. Now, I don't fucking like sports. I hate sports. I am not the person that you are going to see watching a fucking basketball game, any of that shit. I don't like it. Don't ask me about the Lakers. I don't know their colors. But even though I did not care for sports and dealing with all of that macho guy crap, I was interested in the embroidery machine that was dead smack in the middle of the store. Yes, I was there so that I could embroider the hats. I was also technically the assistant manager, so I had to do training, opening, closing, service, returns, all of that crap. But I was also gaining experience in doing more custom design. So after I did both of those jobs, I was able to get my associates, and I got my associates in digital media. So I did a lot of like illustration, graphic design, working with Adobe programs, even doing a little bit of web design, animation. The degree encompasses a lot. Let me know if you want to know more about that. And I was able to, as a graphic designer. Now, I still wasn't making the greatest amount of money doing that. I was still at $10 an hour, but I was gaining the experience of sitting down with customers in a professional environment where they were either bringing me concepts or bringing me images, and I had to edit. I had to use the programs that I was taught in school, and I gained a lot of experience. And I was also able to do custom t-shirts. So I was working with digital printers and gaining experience in knowing about those kind of things. So after I did all of that and am now here 5 years later with that experience under my belt, the retail, all of that custom crap, I have not graduated college yet. I will get my bachelor's next December. I now went back to the art store. I did not go to the exact same art store. Obviously, before I was working at AC Moore, but I did apply, bam, and I applied to, bam, my manager's experience with all of that, and was able to get a job as a manager in, bam. Now, I only had assistant manager / supervisor experience when I applied to, bam, but that didn't matter. I was still able to land a position as a full-blown manager, the customer experience manager, even though it is part-time. That's a choice I made. That means in that time period of me dabbling in those different things and gaining all of that experience, I took my wage from $7.50 when I was 15 to now $12 an hour when I'm 20 years old. That's still without technically a professional degree. That's still technically without a graduate degree. That is just based off of shit I dabbled in. That is based off of pure dabblage. And just so you know, when I did apply, bam, I only had, on my resume, I only had 3 experiences. I had my experience working at AC Moore, doing custom framing, cashiering, all that stuff. My experience at Lids, being an assistant manager and doing the custom embroidery. And my experience at I'm Deep, which was the virtual reality place, because I was there for my longest lasting job, because I was there for over a year. With those 3 experiences, and not even including any of the other design work that I did, graphic design work that I did, custom work that I did, retail work that I did in several stores for however long, just off of telling them what I did in 2 years, I was able to get that manager's position. So it's so in the cards for you. It's so in the cards for anyone who's starting an entry-level position. You can be a manager in just a few years. You can increase your wage by $5, whatever the case, even more than that. If you have done things like this and you've gained this experience and stuff like that, and you're still not seeing the job, well, ask yourself, have you built your resume? You know, and not just building it as in adding it. Your resume really should only be 1 page. You don't need to list every single experience you had. But when you apply to one specific job, are you listing the experiences that will apply and matter to that job? Not only that, but how is your interview? You know, one of the main things I do, dressing nice, making sure I'm keeping eye contact, making sure I have my energy and I'm bright-eyed and I'm eager and I'm excited, I'm passionate about what I'm trying to do, showing and expressing the value that I will add to the company. They don't care what you're doing with yourself or how good you are at blah blah blah. They want to know what you can do for them. It might be a little bit subconscious, but body language. If you're mimicking body language, if you both have your legs crossed or your ankles crossed, sharing body language subconsciously tells a person that you're sharing ideas, you're sharing values, and you have things in common. It makes you more relatable because you're more like them. So take another look at the way you're applying and what you do when you apply. But other than that, this should be key to getting that position that you want. So thank you guys. I hope you can get entry-level positions. If you have an entry-level position that involves art, let me know what it is. I want to know what you're doing with yourself. I'm very interested. Bam! And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Zuzi on the track.